Hey, what's up? It's Jake. You know, I've recorded a ton of these lately, and I haven't posted very many of them because I've just been busy with a million other things. I'm usually kind of a boring dude. I don't really do a whole lot of stuff. I don't go a lot of places. You know, when I take a vacation, it's usually just like kicking it around my house and, you know, kind of catching up on some housework and maybe making some music and stuff like that, but I don't do a whole lot of like external kind of adventuring. It's funny though, tonight is the third night in 8 days that I've gone to a concert. I went to one last Tuesday. I went and saw Incubus. And Jimmy Eat World. Last night I went to see Fantagram. With Scott opening. And they were amazing. And tonight I'm on my way to meet a friend. We're going to Pittsburgh so we can see Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. That should be very cool. It's an interesting group of musicians and they play interesting music. And everyone in the band is phenomenal at what they do. So when you put that all together, it's like this virtuoso stew, and it's really something. They put out a DVD, I want to say probably 15 years ago or more, called Bela Fleck and the Flecktones Live at the Quick. It's one of the first DVDs I ever bought of music, and it's just like one concert that they played. And it is phenomenal from front to back. The whole thing is just jam-packed with killer music. It really got me kind of turned on to them in a way that, you know, I wouldn't have been able to appreciate them if I hadn't seen their show, seen them making this music. To listen to the music's one thing, but to see it happening, to watch the way they feed off each other and everything is really something. But anyways, I've strayed a little bit on this. The point of this is to just say that I'm not like an overly adventurous guy. I don't do a lot of stuff. For the most part, I don't go to a lot of concerts because most of them are kind of far away from me, and I'm kind of like a tightwad with my money sometimes, and I don't really want to spend crazy amounts of money to go see shows. In this particular case, you know, my friend John said, "Hey, do you want to go see Bela Fleck?" And I said, "Well, you know, it'd be cool to hang out. I haven't hung out with him for a long time. I used to work for John, and I transferred from the store that I did work at to the one I work at now. And coincidentally, yesterday was my 9-year anniversary with the company. So it's kind of fitting that, you know, I'm going to a show with the guy who hired me all that time ago. So whenever he mentioned that the show was coming up and asked if I wanted to go, I jumped at the chance. You know, like I said, not only to see them, but to hang out with him again. And then the show I went to last night was for me and my fiance's anniversary. We've been together for 8 years yesterday, so that was the reason for that. And then last Tuesday when I went to see Incubus and Jimmy Eat World, my friend Sean said, "Hey, I got an extra ticket to the show. Do you want to go?" And so that's 3 uncommon reasons for me to go to shows. You know, those aren't things that happen every day. So I'm really lucky and fortunate and appreciative of the opportunity to go do these things. And I am on vacation this week. Today's Wednesday. I've been on vacation since, I think Saturday is when I started my vacation. On Sunday morning, we drove to Niagara Falls. We stopped at a Waffle House and had a nice breakfast. I love Waffle House. We don't have one where I live, and I just love it. I think it's fantastic. I think the breakfast is amazing. The value is right. You know, it's like $7 or $8 for a waffle and eggs and hash browns and bacon, and it's just amazing. So anyways, we did that. Went on up to Niagara Falls. You know, we pulled in there, I want to say it was around 1, and we couldn't check into the hotel until about 3, so we went over and looked at the falls and just, you know, kind of wandered around a little bit like a couple of tourists. And after we checked into the hotel, we kind of chilled out at the hotel room for a little bit, unwound, relaxed a little bit from the drive. Then we went and did some other stuff. Went and did the Maid of the Mist, which is the boat ride. Basically, you go down to the bottom of the falls, you get on a boat, they give you a little poncho, and they drive the boat into the mist underneath the falls. And you get pretty close. You feel like you're pretty close to the falls. You get a great view looking up at them from beneath, and it's very interesting, and it's fun to see everyone's reactions. And when the mist and the stuff is splashing up onto the railing and everything, everyone's reaction is pretty cool, and you kind of hear all the girls kind of squeal, and you know, the guys laugh and all that kind of stuff. But it was pretty cool. I posted a video of that already. Just recorded some footage from when we were at Niagara Falls, and I just kind of threw it together and put it up on YouTube. That way Lily's mom could see. You know, we stayed one night there. The hotel room isn't crazy expensive if you stay away from the falls, but there's one hotel that's kind of like mid-priced. It's a Days Inn that's like right by the falls. You can't see the waterfall from the hotel, but you can walk down there from the hotel. So for us, it was nice to be able to just park our car and not have to go and drive. And parking is kind of a bear when you go to Niagara Falls. It's not the easiest thing to find a parking space, and then if you do find a place to park, it's not cheap. You know, it can be anywhere between $10 and $20 just to park your car to go look at the falls. And if you can leave your car at the hotel and just walk down, that's obviously a nice thing not to have to pay for, but it's also just a nice thing not to have to hunt around for. You know, when it's really busy, it's really crowded there, and it's hard to find a place to park your car. So if you can just leave it at the hotel and walk down, that's one less thing you got to worry about, which is nice. And we pay a little bit more for that luxury, so I guess, you know, we're paying for the parking either way. So anyways, we stay one night. The next morning we go down, we do the Cave of the Winds, which is where you basically take an elevator down to the bottom of the falls. You go out onto this, I guess you could call it like a deck. It's like this big wooden structure. It's like all these deck levels that just kind of go up and down, and it's, I don't know how to describe it, but basically you're going out onto these things, and they give you another little raincoat, and you're right underneath the Bridal Veil Falls. So if you look at the American side of the waterfall, there's one long section that's kind of all connected, then there's like a little rock formation, and there's another little section that's, I don't know how wide it is. I mean, when you're standing underneath it, it seems pretty damn big, but to look at it from a distance, it looks like a small little, it looks like a veil. That's why they call it Bridal Veil Falls. But anyways, this big platform kind of setup is right underneath those falls, and you can stand back as far as you want, or you can get right up in it. If you watch that video, it's pretty awesome. You know, I was able to get right underneath the waterfall and take Lily with me, and it's so cool. I mean, it's loud, it's cold. I mean, the water is just like, it's I wouldn't say it's like freezing water, but it is cold comparatively to the air, and it's rushing and it's loud, and everything's just so exciting. It's super thrilling. It's exhilarating to have all of that kind of energy, you know, dropping all that water on you, and knowing that if you weren't standing on that platform, if you were just kind of standing there on the rocks, it would probably wash you away. So you can go down, you do the Cave of the Winds, you stand under the waterfall and all that, and then there's all kinds of other things to do around Niagara Falls. They have an aquarium, they have different kinds of tours. There's a movie that you can watch at the observation deck. You go down and to the bottom floor, and you watch a movie in a theater about how the waterfall was formed, the kinds of people that lived around the waterfall when people first settled the area, why certain things are named the way they are. Like the Maid of the Mist is named after the Maiden of the Mist, who sacrificed herself so that her people could avoid some big storm or something. Definitely worth going up. For us, where I live, it's about 5 hours. It's totally worth jumping in a car early one day, driving up, spending the afternoon looking at the water, or going on the Maid of the Mist or the Cave of the Winds or whatever, and then spend one night in a hotel. Like I said, there's probably cheaper ways to stay. We stay in the one that's close enough that we can walk to the waterfall from the hotel. But if you stay a little bit away from the falls, I imagine you could probably save yourself a grip. I mean, it's not super cheap to stay even where we stay, but for us it's worth not having to drive down. So one night, spend the next day, half a day, whatever, doing whatever, and we were able to leave Sunday morning, and we were back Monday evening before it even got dark. And obviously you could stay up there as long as you wanted, and you could do a lot of different things. We didn't go into the Canadian side. We only stayed on the New York side because we kind of did this on a spur of the moment, and we don't have passports, and it was going to take too long to get the passports in for us to be able to go to Canada. So we just stayed on the American side, which is totally fine. I mean, it's still an experience. It's a tremendous experience. And the Maid of the Mist is an American side thing. There might be a Canadian side to it. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely on the American side there is. And the Cave of the Winds is only on the American side. So those are the two coolest things that you get to do there, and those are both done from the American side. So I wouldn't at all say that you're missing out tremendously if you can't go up into Canada. Obviously there's things over there that they don't have in America, and you get a better view of the American Falls from the Canadian side. You get a little bit better view of the Horseshoe Falls from there, but it's not a deal breaker. If you don't have passports and you just want to make a 1 or 2 day trip of going up there, that's totally worth it. I've been fortunate in my life to visit a lot of places in the United States. I've been to the Grand Canyon, I've been to Mount St. Helens, I've been to Mount Rushmore, I've been to the Pacific Ocean, I've been to the Atlantic Ocean, I've been to a ton of states. I've been to the Mississippi River, I've seen all over, and I've been to Canada, I've been to Toronto, I went to the CN Tower and looked at the world before me, and I've been everywhere. At least in within my vicinity, I've been everywhere, and in most places in the United States I've been. There's very little that kind of wows me like Niagara Falls does, and I don't know why that is particularly. I mean, it is a wowing kind of thing, but I've seen sights. I've seen a lot of sights that are brilliant, sights that blow you away, sights that take your breath away and make you kind of like step back in awe of this thing that is available to us to behold. But something about Niagara Falls, it's you can look at the Grand Canyon, you can't feel the Grand Canyon. You can look at Mount Rushmore, but you can't feel it. You can't hear it. Mount St. Helens, you can take it in with your eyes, but you can't feel anything. You can stand at the bottom of Niagara Falls and have those waterfalls that are rushing around you. You can hear that roar.
Hear the roar.
So you have the audible sort of allure of the falls. And then in addition to the audible, you have the visual, which is the water hammering down, and you can look up at it and you see the light glistening off of each water drop. And it's so amazing to see that much happening at once, and to have it hammering you. You feel it. You feel that water on you. You're getting wet. Your face is getting wet. You can feel that water. You can taste it. You can smell it. Every bit of your senses are being sort of overloaded with this otherworldly sort of experience. And that's something that a lot of the other big time touristy kind of things don't necessarily capture. You know, there's a lot of them that you can look at and they're beautiful and they're expansive, and you can be like taken away by the beauty and the crazy amount of things that had to happen in nature for, say, the Grand Canyon to exist. Or you can think back and maybe try to put yourself in the shoes of people who've had to deal with, say, the eruption of Mount St. Helens in the early 80s, and you can look at the trees that are still knocked down and things that are still covered in ash all these years later, and you can look at that and you can say, wow, you know, like, I can try to put myself in the position of the people who were devastated by this, but that's like a second-hand experience. With Niagara Falls, it's a first-hand experience. When you're on that Maid of the Mist boat and you're at the bottom of those falls and you look up and you hear that water rushing and you feel that water kind of misting all over you and the sounds of the people, you know that, like, if you came upon that waterfall and you were the only person that had ever seen it, you would just be blown away, completely blown away by that. And to be, like I said, to be under the waterfall is something you cannot explain. It is something you cannot imagine unless you've done it. And even if you have done it, it is like a new experience every single time because it is so amazing. You know, I don't think that I could ever get tired of going under that waterfall. You know, we went in 2012, I believe, and this was just as exhilarating as it was the last time. Definitely something to keep in mind when you go there is, if you can't do anything else while you're there, you have got to go to the Cave of the Winds tour, stand under that water, and just be wowed by it. So even though I am not an adventurous guy for the most part, like I said, I'm going to my third concert in 8 days, and I just got back from Niagara Falls, so I've had a really, really busy couple of weeks, less than a couple weeks, and I'm really thankful that I've got all these experiences and I've had the opportunities that I've had. You know, I really appreciate it, and I try not to take things for granted, and hopefully that comes across when I'm talking about this stuff. If you have any questions about Niagara Falls or any of the things I'm talking about, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I'm more than happy to gush about it, tell you everything that I think. I can't recommend enough that you go to Niagara Falls. It's so cool. If you have the opportunity to see Incubus or Jimmy Eat World anytime soon, definitely check them out. Jimmy Eat World is a band that doesn't seem to get the recognition that I feel like they deserve. I think they're phenomenal. I love their music. Fantagram blew me away. You know, they sounded very, very close to the way they sound on record, if not perfect. And they put on a hell of a show. You know, live drums, the synths, all that stuff. It just sounded freaking killer. You know, they both performed really well. The guitar sounded good, all that. Scott is the person who opened for them. She was just, I was like, my jaw dropped from how good she was as a singer, and her music was on that same sort of, in that same sort of vein as Phantogram. It's like this synth pop. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like got this grittiness to it. I mean, again, live drummer, a couple of live musicians behind her. One played synths and keys, the other one played synths and keys and guitar and bass, and so it was more than just, you know, push and play on some backing track and singing over it. It was really something to behold, to watch both of those groups last night do their thing. And then tonight, like I said, I'm going to go see Bela Fleck. Don't take it for granted when you get opportunities to do things. And if you're one of those people who sits around talking about how you wish you could do things, or you wish you had someone to do things with, you know, just make it happen. Don't be afraid to go to a show by yourself, you know, or buy two tickets and make someone's day. Say, hey, listen, we don't hang out enough. Come to this concert with me. I mean, yeah, not everybody can afford to buy a ticket to something, let alone two, but you have to just make it happen. You know, and before you know it, you know, you buy that ticket for that friend and you have a great time and you guys really connect, and before you know it, now they want to pay you back, so they buy a ticket to a show that maybe you would like, and now you've gone to two shows together, and that's how things develop. And if you're afraid to do things, or if you are apprehensive about hanging out or going, you know, out of town or making a drive or something like that, don't be. You know, that just, I know it's hard, it's easier said than done, but if you have these fears, just forget about them, you know, ignore it. You know, there's nothing you can get into that you can't get out of at this point. And with modern technology, with cell phones and GPS and all that stuff, it's really hard to go anywhere and get lost. If you get somewhere and you're not familiar with it, it's really not a big deal to stop someone on the street and just ask them, hey, what am I doing? They'll be more than happy to help you. And when you get to a concert, if you're not, maybe you go by yourself. There's nobody more friendly and more happy to be a community kind of thing than people at a concert. You know, people love going to concerts because it's a release. It's something where they're not thinking about work, and they're not thinking about their kids, and they're not worried about how they're going to pay their mortgage, and you know, they don't have any fears and concerns. It's just, hey, we're here to have a great time. We're going to see a band that we love. We're going to sing along. We're going to enjoy the show. We're going to maybe drink a little, maybe just enjoy each other's company and stuff. And if you're at a concert all by yourself, I am 100% sure that you can find somebody who would take you into their group and treat you like they'd been friends with you forever, and just, you know, make it like you've had these friends your whole life. And you never know, you might make a new friend that becomes a friend that you do have your whole life. But if you never take that chance, if you never go, you'll never find that out. If you never jump in the car and drive to a place that you want to see, you may never see it. You may never be in a situation where you're standing there with somebody else who's more sure than you are, and you can rely on them to make this thing happen for you. Sometimes you just have to make it happen for yourself. You know, we went to Niagara Falls basically on a whim. You know, my daughter had mentioned a while back that she really wanted to go back to Niagara Falls because she remembered having a good time there, but she was still pretty young. You know, she's 11 now. We went 5 years ago, so, you know, she was 6. That's not, you know, that's an age where you remember certain things, but you don't remember the details. So because she had told me that she wanted to go, hey, it's summertime, you know, I've got a vacation. I know that, you know, my fiance doesn't have a lot of time to take off, but I knew that she could take like a Sunday and a Monday off. And so we just decided to do like a 2-day trip. And if I would have waited around for somebody else to tell me that was okay, we'd have never gone. But you just got to make your own way and do it. You know, if you don't have the money to stay in a hotel room, then go for one day. You know, sleep in your car. Find some place and sleep in your car. Go to a rest area and sleep in your car. You know, there's ways to do it. You don't have to you don't have to spend a gazillion dollars to do a lot of things. Obviously, if you want to spend money, you can have maybe a more lush experience, or maybe you can have, fewer inconveniences. But realistically, you can still make stuff happen on a very low budget if you're willing to deal with minor inconveniences, and you can make it happen. So don't let anything be an excuse. Make the best of all the time you have. If you have family and you want to do something fun with them, don't wait, just do it. They'll appreciate it, you'll appreciate it. Once you have that experience, no one can take that away from you. Once you have that time with your family, no one can take that away from them or you. You can talk about it, you can relive it, you can remember it. You get into hard times, you can say, hey, I know this is rough, but let's talk about all the good times we had. Let's talk about that time we went to Niagara Falls. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this time, that time, whatever. If you have those memories to fall back on, it makes the tough times a lot easier to deal with. In addition to that, it gives your kids something that they can go to school after the summer and tell their friends about. And it seems like they did this huge thing, when really all they did was just ride in a car for a few hours and went and saw this waterfall. But I used to love coming back after a summer vacation, going back to school, and everyone would talk about, well, what'd you do this summer? What'd you do this summer? And everyone's got everyone went somewhere. It seems like everyone did something. And for some of them, it's, we just went to, we went to the county fair, or, we went fishing, or we did whatever. And for other people, it's, hey, we went here, there, and everywhere, and had all these crazy experiences. I just wanted to make sure that we did something fun that Lily could go back to school and tell her friends about. And that's important to me. I don't ever want her to be in a situation where someone else is talking about how great their life is, and she has to feel like she doesn't get to do those kinds of things. So, yeah, maybe we didn't do the biggest, best thing in the world, but hey, we went and saw a pretty neat waterfall. That's cool, So, do whatever you can. Obviously, if you don't want to do the things I'm talking about, then don't do them. But if you're one of those people who sits around talking about things or dreaming about things, just do it. What's stopping you? If it's money, you know what, man? Save up a little bit. Don't eat out for a month. Pack your lunches. Save up your money. Don't buy video games. Don't buy anything that's unnecessary. Don't make any unnecessary trips in your car. Don't buy cigarettes. Don't buy alcohol. Don't buy soft drinks. Drink water. Eat bologna sandwiches. Save up the money, and then use it for some adventure, so you can feel alive and feel like you're doing something. Feel like you're giving your kids a better life or whatever. There's no excuses that will ever make it okay not to do the things that you dream about doing. If you ever feel overwhelmed by the thought of it, just push through it. Pretend like you're not. Pretend like you're not overwhelmed. Fake it until you make it, they say. If you're not confident, just fake it. Pretend you are. It'll be contagious. Other people will think, wow, he's confident. I'm gonna do that. They're confident. I could be confident. There I am. It's definitely worth checking out. So, good luck. Hopefully you have a good time. Till next time, be good, stay positive, hang loose.